Hello and welcome everyone to the Trusted Advisor Show. I am your host, Rob Jacomen. And once again, I'm joined by Ryan Staton and Devin Walsh with StatonWalsh. And this is going to be the launch to our next episode for our series. So what I mean by that is in the last show, we talked about us doing the 6 key elements of business continuity success. So this is going to be part 1 of that whole series. And today we're going to talk about basically step number 1. If you are a business owner, entrepreneur, C-suite, and you're looking to really establish a business continuity plan, we all talked about the current state of the business community and in the economy and the environment that we're in right now, and why it is so critical and beneficial to have a business continuity plan to help guide you in the right direction as we start to ramp back up again. This is one of those really, really critical topics for the business community in general. And I think not enough businesses are doing this, and you should. And so today we're going to talk about part 1, which is establishing a business continuity planning committee and how to get all the stakeholders and your fortress of trusted advisor relationships together. So we're going to have Ryan and Devin both talk about, what does that first step look like? Because this is probably the most important step in the whole process, is getting all the key stakeholders together to start formulating a plan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the hardest part in this process is kind of just getting it off the ground floor. Like, how do we get to, really getting to step 1 is, seems to be the most challenging piece for a lot of people and a lot of businesses, just because it's not top of mind. But, we talked a little bit in the last show about establishing a planning committee and getting the right people in the room to help you start the process of building this plan. So I think the most important thing to focus on first is who's going to be a part of that planning committee or that board. If you're a larger organization, a Fortune 500 company, it might quite literally be the board of directors as well as some other key people. If you're in that middle market business, it's going to include yourself, the major stakeholders in the business, so owners, key executives, maybe some of the key employees, as well as possibly an operational consultant. I do recommend for some of the businesses that we work with, there's people that specialize in this and that do this every single day and build out business continuity plans, manuals. And for a large enough organization with enough moving parts, it really does pay to have an expert that does that. And that's their only job, as kind of like the coordinator of your committee. They sit at the head of the table and they work with you as well as the other people to kind of coordinate a plan. If you're a smaller business, a closely held family business that's a little bit smaller, your planning committee could consist of your trusted advisors, people like ourselves, whether it's financial, banking, insurance. All of those people serve a purpose in your life and in your business. And having them together in one room, just like it benefits you from other planning perspectives, can also benefit you from a business continuity perspective as well. It gives you fresh eyes. You do want to be mindful of who you have and how who's making up that planning committee. The old adage, there can be too many cooks in the kitchen. You don't want to have too many people in the room offering, because you can get you want a diverse group of people that come from different departments and different levels, so that you can get a good perspective. But you also don't want too many people, because then your message and your plan can get a little convoluted with a lot of different things. So I think it's important to be targeted and concise with how you're building this, but it's also about having the right experts on your team. And some of that is going to come down to the size and complexity of your organization.
Yeah, it's so interesting because we talk about that. I come from a safety background. So as an engineer and safety professional early in my career, one of the things that, and even as I got into commercial insurance, one of the keys to success for any company is to have and it's something that I've been very successful at helping companies do, is set up a safety committee, right? Where you meet once a month. Statistics show, and the studies are proving, that having that committee of various stakeholders within your organization who all can provide feedback and input, but also having a leader, having a leader who is able to bring all those people together and basically have commanded in a very organized fashion, because you don't want a bunch of hodgepodge and chaos going on. You definitely want to have a structure. And that's why it's so important, as Devin, as we talk about all the time, this is where the true relationship building is so powerful, is during times of crisis. This is where you know how strong those relationships are and why it's so important to establish those, because this is the time where we all need to come together. And I know you talk about that all the time, is why the relationships are so important for all the stakeholders involved.
No, it's a great point, Rob. And it's almost one thing that we focus on is transparency. So when you have this open lines of communication with your other partners, talking about this business continuity plan we're putting together, I think it's also very important for business owners to know their key relationships, their trusted advisors, what their business continuity plan is as well. I think all the partners in that board of directors of all their trusted relationships should sit down. They should share all their business continuity plans, because if you are a key part of my business and you help my business run, and something like COVID happens, or an earthquake, or death of a key employee, whatever something happens, and you're not set up to continue your business, it's going to severely affect my business. So I think it's a great exercise to not only get your trusted advisors together in a room and talk about your current continuity plan, have them review it, but also review theirs. Because there might be something that's in your plan that might not be in ours. Like, that's a great idea. I think it needs to fit into ours. And also shows you that if, God forbid, something happens, all your key vendors, trusted advisors, whoever it may be, are able to continue their business as well. So I think it's extremely important to also audit your key relationships, continuity plans.
Yeah, I mean, imagine just the way to look at business continuity planning is, just imagine just setting yourself up, having a living, breathing document, right? Where basically this sets you up for success, right? So nothing is ever guaranteed, but I'll be honest. I mean, when we're talking about what we're all going through right now and all the businesses and all the feedback I'm getting, is this can't hurt to go through this process and have a plan. That's always been the path to success for me personally, is having a game plan. And then the next element of that, which we'll get into in later episodes as we go through the series, is the execution piece. And then having the right people. And one of the reasons why, if I can chime in here on this, is you want to have the right key stakeholders in your organization and your trusted advisors on your team, is because each individual person, while you're talking about this plan collectively, has to also execute in their area of expertise. So if you have your safety director who's part of your planning committee, he's going to be he or she's going to be bringing in expertise on emergency response planning, on what safety initiatives do we need to put into play, what is the guidance and direction from the federal and state level governments as far as social distancing and all those guidelines that we're all reading about right now, to CDC guidelines. That all has to be executed on the ground troop level. So that's why it's so important for everyone to get together, sit at the table. So Ryan, step one, if anyone's watching right now or listening, regardless of the size of your business, it doesn't matter if you've got 5 employees or you've got 500 employees. The same principles apply, the same template and formula for success in business continuity planning applies regardless of the size of your organization.
100%. I think that it doesn't, I mean, you need a continuity plan and you need some kind of strategy in place if you're a one-person business. If your aspiration is to build something that has a legacy component built into it, meaning that you potentially want that business to go to the next generation, or it's something that you want to build for your family, or whatever your purpose may be, number of employees and size of companies don't really matter. Every business needs to continue. I would argue that smaller businesses probably need this even more than a larger organization that has a lot of infrastructure, a lot of people, and a lot of support. The smaller organizations are the ones that, in scenarios like right now, that possibly or maybe probably didn't have these plans in place, are the ones that are scrambling now to figure out what the next step is. Like, where am I going from here? So I think that it's important to understand that this is something that we believe is necessary for all business. And then going beyond that, once you make that leap from not having it to let's get this committee built, let's get this first step accomplished, it's really important to have the right people, because putting a plan on paper just for the sake of saying I checked the box and I did it doesn't really serve you well. It has to be done right, and it has to be done with intentionally, so that, like you said, if somebody wants to step in and execute their portion of the plan, they can do so because they were involved appropriately on the front end to make sure that every detail was ironed out. And again, it's also a long process to get these things right. And so you want support, you want other people. And if you already have employees that can help with that, great. If you don't, there are plenty of people in your life as a business. And because we're business owners, we also understand this. We pay consultants, we pay other vendors, we do a lot of business to business with other people, leverage them. A lot of us, including ourselves, we get paid to consult businesses and individuals on a number of different topics, whether it be financial or not. And so we offer that to people, and I think that other businesses should ask for that help, and don't be afraid to do it just because it wasn't a part of your original contract or agreement. I think that in this situation, stuff like this, if you have the right people around you, I think people will be more than willing to help. And also, if they're good, trusted relationships, they're going to help you put together a really solid plan to make sure that you're successful.
Yeah. And, we talked about this in the last episode. You can't do this alone. This has to be a coordinated effort. And if you need some resources, if you need somebody who can facilitate this, or a firm that can facilitate this whole process, certainly someone can easily avail themselves of our resources. We're happy to offer that as a, just to having a conversation. There's no commitments or anything. Just have a conversation, because we have the background, we have the experience. We've seen this kind of thing before. So, but our belief is that every company would benefit, especially given the circumstances in the environment today. Every company would benefit from having this kind of plan in place. The question is always, well, I'm not even sure where to start. Well, I'm telling you where to start. Where to start is get the experts who have been down this road before. Now, granted, we haven't been down the COVID-19 road before because we're on uncharted territory. But, again, like you said, Ryan and Devin both, the formula for success is having a plan on paper, and then executing that plan. Because you said it perfectly. It's worthless having that living, breathing document without proper execution. And we're going to get into future episodes. We're going to talk about how to execute that game plan. So listen, if anybody needs any help or resources, we're going to keep links in the description below, where you can either reach out to us, and you can actually ask questions. You can, we want to engage our community here. We want to be of service to you. So if you have questions, you are in need of resources about where to get started, we're here for you. So Devin, are there any final things as we're wrapping up here? Are there any final thoughts, or what would be the next logical step for someone who has heard or listened to the benefits of, what we're talking about here with the first step and assembling your committee and trusted advisor relationships? What would be the next move?
I think it's as simple as just creating a list. Start writing down all the important people to your business. Who are the key people who serve different functions in the company? Who are the trusted advisors that serve different parts of the business for either financial, insurance? Who are the key people who keep the lights on, the IT, the banker, whoever it may be? Create that list. I think the first step is creating the list of all the people, and figure out how important they are to your business, and then start asking them and get them into a room together and saying, hey, I'm putting this business continuity plan together. You're all key aspects of my business. I want to get your expert opinion on my steps, and also want to see your business continuity plan as well. So God forbid something would happen to your business, we're going to be fine. So I think that's the first thing where people should start.
One of the resources that we're going to offer free to any listener or anyone watching today is going to be putting together basically a checklist where it's a free checklist. You can download it. You just have to put in your email and your contact information, and we'll provide you with that free resource to help guide you in the right direction. And exactly what Devin's talking about is put you through a list that's going to go step by step, where you can basically follow along. And that is a great first step, is start to write down a list of all the key stakeholders, all the folks that you would consider. And, it can be employees, it can be leadership, key leadership, your trusted advisors, but that is a great first step. So as we're wrapping up here, one of the things I'd urge you is, if you got value from today, please consider subscribing, because we're going to continue to put out great content, and then you'll be notified. Hit the like button, and that'll certainly help us be able to continue doing this and providing you guys with great resources and tools and strategies to help your business. And guys, any final thoughts? Ryan?
No, yeah, just like Devin said, start and you reiterated, and I'll add it again. Third time's a charm. Make that list, get the right people in the room, and get started on this process as soon as possible. There's no better time than the present to do this kind of stuff. And I know that we all, as business owners, are trying to move the needle forward to get past what's going on. So that's a logical and a very easy first step to get started, so that we can all, if this were to happen again, then we're prepared. So that's all I would have to add.
Yeah, this is such powerful stuff, because regardless of even in a crisis situation, or even something like this, where something has kind of prompted you or kicked you into action, it shouldn't take a crisis for someone to be able to, for someone, a smart business owner, to be able to say, hey, listen, I really need a business continuity plan regardless of the circumstances, because it's in the best interest of my business. So guys, I really appreciate your time today. This was a really exciting start to the series, and something I'm pumped about, because I know that's it's in our hearts to always be giving out value to our listeners and subscribers. And it's part of the mission of the Trusted Advisor Show, is to constantly be putting stuff out there. So if you have any comments, or if you have anything that you want us to talk about or to share, if you have any questions, we're happy to air those questions on our show. And because it's going to help you, and it's going to help others who are also watching and listening as well. So guys, thank you so much. And we will see you on the next episode of the Trusted Advisor Show. Take care.